and we agreed to accelerate our practical work to support a potential deal. So we will now move into an operational phase. Our militaries will meet on Thursday this week here in the United Kingdom to put strong and robust plans in place to swing in behind a peace deal and guarantee Ukraine's future security.
This is my video update on this Sunday afternoon, March the 16th, coming to you from the jungles of the Mediterranean. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with the airstrikes into Yemen. The United States launched airstrikes into Yemen to hit the Houthis. The Associated Press says the Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen. That is the title that the AP is going with. And Trump issues a new warning, according to the Associated Press. So Trump launched this airstrike into Yemen. He was monitoring the airstrike as it was unfolding. And he also posted on Truth Social about the airstrike. He sent a warning to the Houthis in his Truth Social post. He sent a warning to Iran, the Iran-backed Houthis, as the Associated Press puts it. And the warning was to not attack ships that are passing through the Red Sea. That was his warning. And if they attack ships passing through the Red Sea, then Trump said he's going to hit Yemen, the Houthis, and Iran a lot harder. He also said that Biden was a weak president, and he allowed this to go on, and Trump is putting a stop to it. And these ships are now going to pass through the region without having to worry about being hit by the Houthis. And that was his warning, his message on Truth Social. An unnecessary strike, in my opinion, a very unnecessary strike. You had a lot of civilian casualties from this airstrike. But to be honest, the Houthis have not hit a ship in the Red Sea, I believe, since the ceasefire in Gaza was brokered. There hasn't been an attack in the Red Sea since the ceasefire. But Trump decided to launch a preemptive, at least in my opinion. This is a preemptive strike against Yemen, against the Houthis, because we are getting reports which claim that the Houthis are saying that if the blockade in Gaza is not lifted, then they will begin to hit Israeli ships passing through the region again. So the Houthis send this message, allegedly put out this message, that if the blockade is not lifted, then they're going to start to hit ships in the region. So Trump decides to strike into Yemen to send a warning to the Houthis to not think about hitting ships passing through the Red Sea. That's pretty much a short summary as to what is happening in the region. A horrible situation, very difficult situation, because you have Witkoff, who was just in the region, and Witkoff was trying to put together an extension to the first phase of the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. Now, the first phase of the ceasefire agreement actually ended on March 1st. And on March 2nd, Israel put a blockade on humanitarian aid into Gaza. And Netanyahu claims that the blockade was put into place because Hamas was stealing this aid, and they were breaking the first ceasefire. So Netanyahu wants an extension to the first phase of the ceasefire. He wants the remaining hostages released. Then the blockade can be lifted and we move on to the second phase of the ceasefire. Hamas, they said that on March 1st, the first phase concluded, and it was time to move on to the second phase of the ceasefire. So basically what Witkoff is trying to do is he's trying to put together what he's calling a bridge proposal, an extension to the first phase, or a bridge proposal, which can take Israel and Hamas can take this ceasefire from phase 1 to phase 2. And in this bridge proposal, Witkoff is putting together another hostage release. Not all of the remaining hostages, but I believe 11 hostages is what Witkoff is proposing. And he's trying to figure out a way to get from phase 1 to phase 2, and then to also lift the blockade. So the ceasefire is at risk of unraveling. You have the Houthis allegedly saying that if the blockade is not lifted, then they're going to start to hit ships passing through the Red Sea. And now you have the United States hitting the Houthis with airstrikes and warning that they will hit Yemen even harder if the Houthis decide to hit ships that pass through the Red Sea. Israeli ships is what the Houthis allegedly said. Israeli ships passing through the Red Sea. So a very complicated, a very difficult, intense situation in the region, and a risk that the ceasefire could unravel. But hopefully we can get to the second phase of the ceasefire agreement. So I simplified things out a lot in my explanation, but that's pretty much where we are. And I really hope that there are no more strikes into Yemen, even though there are reports that there will be another round of airstrikes into Yemen, possibly this evening, but I can't confirm that. All right, so that's the situation in the Middle East. By the way, Lavrov, can you hear the frog? I don't know if you guys can hear it. Can you hear him or hear her? So loud. Incredible, huh? Where are you hiding? All right. I don't think I'm going to see any frogs today, unfortunately. I was hoping to see a frog or two, but no dice. Let's talk about some news. What was I saying? Lavrov actually had a phone call with Rubio. And in the phone call, of course, they discussed the negotiations in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, between the U.S. and Russia on Project Ukraine. The United States, by the way, initiated this phone call. So it was Rubio that initiated the call with Lavrov. But they also talked about the strikes into Yemen. Actually, the readout, we don't have much of a readout, either from Russia, either from the United States, at least at the moment of recording this video. But the readout actually says that the United States told Russia ahead of time, I believe the readout said ahead of time, They told Russia that they were going to launch airstrikes into Yemen. I think that's what I read as I was going through these reports. I could be wrong about that, but anyway, they did discuss the strikes into Yemen, and Lavrov said that this is not the way to solve this this problem. Lavrov urged to halt use of force in Red Sea during talk with Rubio. The parties also discussed specific issues regarding the implementation of the mutual understanding reached during the meeting of high-ranking Russian and U.S. officials on February 18th in Riyadh. Sergei Lavrov and Marco Rubio agreed to maintain contact. Let me see if I have Lavrov's statement from the readout. In response to the reasoning presented by the American side for launching strikes into Yemen, Sergei Lavrov emphasized the need for an immediate cessation of the use of force and the importance of all parties engaging in political dialogue to find a solution that prevents further bloodshed, the foreign ministry said. On March 15th, at the initiative of the American side, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov had a telephone conversation with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. During the talk, the U.S. reported its decision to launch a military operation against the Houthi forces in the Red Sea region, the foreign ministry said. So it does sound as if they told Russia ahead of time that they were going to launch these strikes. At least that's how I'm reading it. Maybe I'm reading it incorrectly. So that's a good segue into Project Ukraine. And Peskov, he put out a statement and said that the Ukraine soldiers trapped in Kursk have until Monday to surrender. And if they do not surrender by Monday, then the Russian military will do what they need to do. But this is following Trump's calls to Putin, or his message on Truth Social, directed towards Putin and towards Russia to spare the lives of the soldiers. And Putin's response was, okay, but they're going to have to get an order from Kiev to lay down their arms. We're not going to let them leave the encirclement that they find themselves in. So they have until Monday to surrender. And that was the message from Peskov. They have until Monday. Time running out for Ukrainian forces in Kursk region to surrender. According to the Kremlin, Russian President Vladimir Putin has offered the encircled troops time to lay down their arms in exchange for their lives. So that's the message from the Kremlin. You have until Monday. Let's see what happens on Monday. I doubt we're going to be getting an order from Zelensky or Syrskyi telling the Ukraine soldiers trapped in Kursk to surrender. Even though Zelensky continues to claim that there is no encirclement. Actually, Zelensky continues to claim that it was a successful mission in Kursk. He says mission accomplished. That is what Zelensky continues to say about Kursk. I wonder what's in here. I wonder what is hiding in there. So speaking of Witkoff, he was in Moscow. He met with Russian officials and also met with Putin. And there were rumors, reports from Collective West media saying that the Kremlin made him wait for 8 hours before meeting with the Russian president. And this was a humiliation and embarrassment for the United States. And Putin deliberately made him wait for 8 hours in order to embarrass Trump. But we are finding out that this is fake news. Fake news from The collective West media say it ain't so. Say it ain't so, because Trump posted on Truth Social that this did not happen. Putin did not make Witkoff wait for 8 hours when he was in Moscow. Trump said that Witkoff had very good meetings, met with a lot of Russian officials, and also had a good meeting with Russian President Putin. Trump really laid into the media for this one, huh? He calls them deranged. Sick degenerates is what he calls them, not deranged. Sick degenerates. The only reason why they made up that story is to try and demean, because they are sick degenerates that have to start reporting the news correctly. This is why they have lost their ratings, their audience, and respect. Thank you for your attention to this matter. God bless America. Yeah, sick degenerates is what he called the media that was running with this report. Trump says 9 hours. The media said that Witkoff was made to wait for 9 hours. This is fake news, according to the President of the United States. He actually starts off the post on Truth Social. The fake news, as usual, is at it again. Why can't they be honest just for once? Last night I read that President Vladimir Putin of Russia kept my highly respected ambassador and special envoy Steve Witkoff waiting for over 9 hours, when in fact there was no wait whatsoever. All right. That's that story. And let's talk a bit about Kellogg, because there were also reports which claimed that Kellogg was no longer a part of the Project Ukraine negotiating team, and this is true, or maybe you could say it's half true, because Trump clarified that Kellogg will not be involved in any negotiations with Russia, but what he will do is that he will work exclusively with Zelensky. Trump clarifies Ukraine envoy's duty. Keith Kellogg will deal directly with Zelensky after he was reportedly ousted from talks with Moscow. It sounds to me as if Kellogg is gone, because Zelensky, they want Zelensky to go, and so they put Kellogg to deal with Zelensky. So Kellogg on his way out, Zelensky on his way out, so let's put them together and they can deal with each other. So Kellogg's job now, according to Trump, is he is going to be the envoy who deals exclusively with the Green Goblin, who no one wants to remain president of Ukraine anymore. That's going to be Kellogg's job. Yeah, Kellogg's been sidelined. There's no way to spin this one. President Trump, he has been absolutely sidelined. He has to deal with the Green Goblin. That's got to be fun. Probably is fun if you're into that type of stuff that the Green Goblin does. But anyway, I don't see Kellogg as that type. But let's move on. Let's move on and talk about. Well, this is like a clown world. This is my clown world. I'm pushing my clown world up a bit. And it has to deal with Starmer, 008. Keir Starmer. He announced yesterday, after a virtual meeting of the Coalition of the Willing, that the Coalition of the Willing is now moving into the operational phase of Project Ukraine. Oh my God, Keir Starmer. Military planning for Ukraine peace deal entering operational phase, says Starmer. Can't make this stuff up, huh? Keir Starmer's talking about peacekeepers in Ukraine if a ceasefire is agreed. And he says that planning is now in the operational phase for British and French and other European forces that are part of the coalition of the willing to put boots on the ground in Ukraine the moment a ceasefire deal is agreed on. That was Starmer's message to the world yesterday. And everyone is laughing. Everyone is laughing at Starmer. He loves playing Churchill. I'll give him that, man. Zelensky likes playing Churchill. Starmer really likes playing Churchill. He's really enjoying these theatrics, this theater. Like the UK is going to put boots on the ground in Ukraine, like Russia is going to allow the UK or France to put boots on the ground in Ukraine. Never, ever going to happen. What military is Starmer going to deploy to Ukraine? None. There is no military that Starmer can deploy to Ukraine. France may have something. Maybe the French military will last a couple of weeks. But the UK, come on, Starmer, who you kidding, man? Who are you kidding, 008? Stop it. Stop the Churchill role play 008. When this conflict is over, when we get to a ceasefire negotiation, or the conflict ends, Russia wraps this up, whatever happens, when the war does come to an end and all of this comes to an end, I propose that the collective West never mentions Churchill again. Or at least, let's say, for 3 years, the media, collective West leaders, they are banned from mentioning the name Winston Churchill. No more Churchill, please, no more Churchill. And no more Neville Chamberlain either. And no more. Let's put a law in the books in the UK, in the EU, in the United States. No media, no leader can say Churchill or Neville Chamberlain ever again. For 3 years. Can't say it for 3 years. If you say the name, then you go to prison for a week. I don't know. I have had enough of everyone wanting to be Churchill. I've had enough of it. Enough. You're either Churchill or you're Chamberlain, or you're Chamberlain or you're Churchill. Starmer is enjoying his time as the fearless leader of the UK, about to take on the Russians, bring peace to Europe. That is Starmer, everybody. Morawiecki, the former Prime Minister of Poland, he was interviewed by RT, and he didn't know it was RT. And they asked him about Project Ukraine. And the former Prime Minister of Poland, he said that Ukraine cannot get into NATO. He actually said that whatever the United States wants, that's what Europe should do. That's what he said. He threw Zelensky and he threw Ukraine just under the freaking bus. He completely ditched Ukraine and Zelensky. He said, look, if the United States says no NATO, then no NATO. I don't care about what Ukraine wants. I don't care what Europe wants for Ukraine. We are going to do whatever the U.S. tells us to do. That was pretty much what he told RT, and he didn't realize it was RT. So you can see where the coalition of the willing is moving towards. It's completely crumbling. There is no coalition of the willing. You had Rutte yesterday say that Ukraine is not getting into NATO. Granted, this is the former prime minister of Poland, but still very, very high up in the Polish elite class, let's say, the political elite. He knows what's going on, and he knows what the thinking is in Poland, and he said, forget about it. There's no NATO for Ukraine. Whatever Trump decides, that's what's going to happen. Everything else is just it's just talk. It's just talk, tough talk. That's all it is. That was his statement, and let's wrap up this video With some other stories that happened yesterday, we had big protests in Serbia, perhaps the biggest in history. The police report 100,000 people, but the real reports, not the police reports, the real reports have the protests at over 500,000 people. Serbia has a population of about 6.5 million, 6.6 million. So that's a huge percentage of the population protesting, and they were protesting corruption from Vučić. Pretty much that was the protest. Of course, all of this is sparked from the events that happened in November at a train station or a bus station where the canopy collapsed on people, killing 16 people. And so these protests have been going on since that tragedy, that event. And yesterday saw the largest protest, and they want Vučić to go. What that means, I don't know. Snap elections, perhaps transition government. I don't know. I don't know what the procedure is, but we'll see what happens in Serbia. In Romania, there were protests, and these were actually protests in favor of the European Union and in favor of the cancellation of elections. How about that, huh? That's right. Protesters came out in favor of the cancellation of elections. Cancel our democracy. Woohoo! Yeah. These were not big protests, by the way. There are photos where they zoom in on the crowd, and then the crowd forms like a heart. You know, they like to do these things at the EU-sponsored Soros NGO-sponsored protests. They like to do these gimmicks, so they form like a heart, and the camera zooms in, so it looks like it's a lot of people. You're seeing it on your screen right now. But in reality, when you zoom out, it's not that many people. So yeah, there was not a big turnout for these protests. But still, you had protests in favor of the cancellation of elections. What's up, buddy? Jungle cat. So that's Romania. We also had another candidate for president banned in Romania, Diana Jovanovici Sosoața. I know I pronounced that wrong. I know I'm going to hear it in the comments. What can I do? Has accused Brussels and European Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen of hindering democratic processes in her country. Romanian right-wing leader barred from presidential election. This is the second time that she was barred. The first round she was barred, and so she submitted her candidacy again, and she was barred again from the presidential elections. And she came out this time around wearing boxing gloves. She knew she was going to be banned from these elections. Again, she knew it was coming. But there you go. Romanian elections, everybody. I think it would just be easier if they just allowed Ursula to just pick the president. I mean, why are they going through all of these motions of an election, organizing an election, candidates, submitting your papers to run for president, spending the money on the voting process, on all of these things? Why go through all of this? Just have Ursula pick the person and be done with it. Save money, save time. It's just getting ridiculous, man. It seems like she's the one who's going to decide who can run anyway. That's the way it looks. Georgescu, no. This person, Diana, no. Just ask Ursula, who do you want? It's crazy, man. What a tragedy, man. What a freaking tragedy. What an injustice in Romania. Orban, he put out a list of demands from Brussels. Posted this on X. A list of 12 demands. Should I read these all out? Oh my God. I don't want to read these all out. Let there be peace, freedom, and unity, Orban says. We demand a Europe of nations. We demand equality before the law for all member states. What else does he say? Expel Soros agents. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. What else? Corrupt dollars and euros must not flow into member states. Yes. Protect Europe's Christian heritage. We demand peace in Europe, a union, but without Ukraine. Ooh, they're not going to like that. Viktor Orban. Anyway, he puts out a list of 12 demands to Brussels. I wonder if Brussels is going to take any of these demands seriously from Orban. My guess is no. They're going to hate him even more. When he puts out a list like this, they're going to be even more mad with Orban. So that's the video. Do I have any other stories on this lazy Sunday? Trump orders cutbacks at state-run media. Yeah, Voice of Voice of America and what's it called? Radio Liberty or Radio Free Liberty? I forgot what it's called. The U.S. propaganda media outlets that operate outside the United States and put out all kinds of propaganda. They're done. They're done. Their funding is over. Serious cutbacks, serious downsizing. They're going to have to get rid of a lot of staff, close up operations and offices wherever they have them around the world. Big setback for the color revolution regime change machine. Xi Jinping snubs EU-China anniversary summit, according to the Financial Times. Brussels sought visit to mark 50 years of ties, but move adds to skepticism about warm words from Beijing. Yeah, no one likes the European Union. So they're going to put together an event to celebrate 50 years of a relationship with China. And Xi Jinping said, not interested. Not interested. He does not like Ursula. Remember when Ursula traveled to Beijing and China made her leave the country through the passport controls that we go through? You know, she didn't get any special treatment. She had to go through the same lines that all of us have to pass through whenever we travel. That was pretty devastating. That was very embarrassing for Ursula. They do not like her. China, Xi Jinping does not like Ursula. He doesn't want to go to this event. He's going to send a very high up official. I forgot who in the government is going to attend this anniversary summit. But it's not going to be the top man. That says a lot. Anyway, that's the video. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch like what I'm wearing in this video. Update. The link is in the description box down below. Take care.